Uh, hey, okay, that was weird. The intro was starting and then
Hello.
it stopped. So, hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 433 for Wednesday, November 10th. My name is Russell Frost. I have the pleasure to be your host this week. And look at this panel. Even the rare and seldom seen Patrick Connor, not in his nest, not incubating his eggs. No, he's on the show tonight. So there we go. Let me introduce everyone and let's get this thing going. My friend in Northern California, she has two cats that aren't siblings. I just learned today, but maybe cousins. What was
They're
that?
probably cousins.
Am I digging too deep? Should I not have shared the personal thing?
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't care.
You just look bad. Georgia McKenzie, welcome.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for being here, Georgia. As I said, the rare and seldom seen on What Drives Us, our friend in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, I'm bringing the gigawatts. 1.21 of them.
You are electric, sir.
Patrick is.
And speaking of electric, he is everyone's favorite supercharger reviewer in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Casey Green.
How's it going? Just enjoying the updates as they come along. Car hasn't tried to throw me off a bridge this week, so that was a plus.
What?
That's a big deal. Yeah.
It did try to go the wrong way down a turn a couple times. I've submitted that to the beta team in an email, like, hey, yeah, this snapshot I did at XYZ time, yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Well, he is an expert in what not to do to your car because he has to fix them. He is the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, your home on the Front Range for EV and hybrid vehicles, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be here.
Thank you for being here, Paul. And last, and certainly not least, my friend and the host of the Tesla Life, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And it looks like this week I've got the logo.
Yeah.
You do.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Were you just squeezing the logo right now in front of everyone? I
Don't hit
mean,
your head on
I
it,
saw
though.
he
That
broke
hurts.
all over it.
that is so not right. Don't they have?
You should put me in the logo position.
I didn't, and I guess I can't move you around, but I'm going to leave you there because I think it's good for you. So we're going to start off with the feature Patrick Connor has lovingly called Russell's Rant. It was lovingly, right, Patrick?
It was
Maybe
something.
not. Okay, maybe it was cynically and accurately. I'm going to keep this really short, but it just sort of burned up my high lately. I think it's interesting how some companies are held responsible for things that they make and some companies aren't. I think it's funny that an excuse to make something that may be potentially dangerous is, well, it's what customers wanted. When customers want lots of things that companies can't make because maybe they're dangerous, maybe they're not good ideas.
Sir.
And who am I talking about? Well, actually, I'm talking about just about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just about everybody who makes a motor vehicle of any kind has probably been screwing the pooch as hard as possible in the last few years. We've seen fleets blowing up in size. We've seen mini trucks that are now the size of what was 10 years ago a full-size truck. Now, full-size trucks are these enormous juggernauts that you can't even see for the first 10 feet in front of you because the hood's so big and tall.
Yeah,
I
today's
noticed this.
full-size trucks are as big as the dump trucks when I was a kid, or school buses.
And they don't fit in parking spots.
That part.
I noticed this because I spend 8 hours a day on the surface streets and highways of North San Diego County. I see what's on the road. I see how people drive. And I'm going to call out one in particular because Stellantis they are the biggest one-trick pony in the car market right now. They are all about the horsepower, all about the Hemi, all about the burning tires, and all about making tracks and being cool and being awesome. And I've seen all their cars on the roads. And you know what? a lot of those people drive like complete and utter assholes. Dangerously,
Yes.
horribly. The cars are loud. They're super powerful. Hey, and it's not just men. It's not
No,
just men.
it's not.
It's women in SUVs. It's women in Hemi-powered SUVs. It's lots of people. This isn't one group. But the one thing this group does have in common is they love overpowered vehicles. They loved oversized vehicles, and they love to drive alone.
Mm-hmm. We're worse than
And
we got
recklessly.
the first ones.
At some point in the future, someone is going to look back at this. If there's anyone around, I won't go down that too dark a road, but they're going to look back and go, why'd you guys do that? Why'd you let people do that? I mean, what the hell
why
were
did you let
thinking?
gasoline?
Now, this is right in the middle of giving kids bulletproof backpacks and making pink AR-15s for children. But we don't talk about weapons here. We talk about transportation. So yeah, I'm on the cars thing, and that's all I got. It's beyond me. It really is.
We do sometimes talk about weaponized stupidity. So
We do that. So one thing when back on the large trucks thing is I was looking at a diagram the other day that showed not just how easy it is to hide a child behind the blind spots, but now you can hold full-grown adult women and some men in the blind spot. Like they could be standing in front of you and you don't even know it, and they're adult people. Like
Wow.
you need to be able to see the adults. I mean,
Yeah.
because the kid should be accompanied. So if you can't see either of them, you've done messed up.
Can you see things? Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick. Go ahead.
well, it was me,
I'm
but I
George.
know
I'm
Patrick
sorry.
and I do look and sound alike.
That's an understatement, George.
Easy to get us
Believe me.
confused
If
here,
I didn't
yeah.
have
Yeah.
names on these things, I'd have no idea who I was talking
We're
about.
like freaking twins.
My twin. Yep.
Sorry, baby.
Twinsies.
George is going to beat my ass up. Too.
But no, the one thing I've always noticed about trucks is how every single truck now is what used to be the super truck, the extended edition. When I was growing up, like that was like the specialty truck that you really only needed if you were really doing construction, and nobody had them
You
unless
have to
you
take the
went
whole
to like
team to the job site at one
it took
go.
the whole team. That was the Dodge extended cab Ram whatever macho penis extender 45. I mean, that's what those things used to be. And now you just go buy a truck and they all look like that. And my gym has honestly the worst, tiniest little parking lot in a residential neighborhood in a very narrow area. And I'm always just like, there's always some person there with an oversized truck that you can't see around, and it's trying to wedge into super tiny parking spaces. And it's just the worst. I don't understand why everything got bigger and bigger and bigger, yet they're not carrying anything. It's as shiny as the day you bought it.
Because
Yeah.
customers demanded it.
Well, my tank, it does it does fit in the space, but it's too long and the turning radius is too stupid. So when I try to get into a spot, people seem to think that I can do it in one motion, but I can't do it in one motion in a standard size lot because there's not enough room to maneuver. So I have to go forward and back up, whether I'm driving in or pull it, or what I normally do is back in, and it's gonna take two motions. And people try to zip around me as I'm doing it, and they end up getting really upset because, oh my goodness, you tried to hit me. Well, you don't go around people who are parking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've talked about this before on the show. There's a mockumentary where it's supposedly the year 2070, I think, and they're dealing with all the environmental disasters and trying to clean it up and figuring out when did this start. And they determined it was now, and that we were stupid, and so it's called they label this era the age of stupid in the future. Because we're doing all this dumbass shit that we should know better by now. We've been warned, and yet we continue to do it, and it's going to cause massive problems, if not for the next generation, for us later in our life. And we've already seen wildfires and hurricanes and heat waves, and yet we're like still burning fossil fuels every day. Da, da, da.
It's what
And on
customers
top of
want.
it, we're not just burning fossil fuel, we're upping the story. So like
Yes.
every time you turn around, these trucks, these CUVs, these SUVs, there's no more sedans. They're dropping those, and everybody's building trucks on truck frames that burn more fuel, that cost more money, and of course, drive in more profits for the car makers. So guess
But it gets
what?
even
They're feeding themselves because they can, and
yeah.
the consumers are all over it. They want to sit higher. They want to be in a taller position in a car. They don't want to be down low. They now want to be up top, and that forces people into trucks. And that trend has been going on, I would say, for the past 15 years. We've been
Yeah.
transitioning from cars to trucks, and now we're there. Everything is a truck.
It's even worse than that though. Look at the proposals for the Build Back Better plan. Um, you're going to get more money for getting a SUV or truck as electric than you will for a sedan.
Oh
Like
man.
like you can literally go up to 80 grand on something that's classed as truck, where you can only go up to 55 as something that's classed as car.
When it's hauling one person around with electricity, it should have one incentive. There's no reason to pay them differently.
Right.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to get that out because, like I said, history's not going to judge us well,
No.
Yep.
in my opinion.
And then that's to say nothing of the people who think we should have no cars. I mean, yes, less cars is good, but it's. I don't think that it's reasonable to expect the world to give up cars overnight.
let me also address. I'm sorry, briefly before we go on to the next thing. Something that I'm sure will end up coming up to me either on Twitter or in an email, which is, hey man, I do construction. I got to carry 4x8 sheets of plywood and a crew and tools. And hey man, I'm not talking to you.
Right.
Okay. If you legitimately use your truck, I'm not talking to you. But again, I'm on the road 40 hours a week. I'm looking at who's in cars. And you know what? If you're 82 and you're driving an HD 3500 Ram that you can't even get around a corner, you don't need that. You just want it. And that's fine. Welcome to America, where you can have whatever you want and it's legal, but it's stupid as shit.
Yeah, we got smaller, and we're just getting bigger and bigger. SUVs just keep getting bigger and bigger. Vans. It's like, what happened?
Right. And that's one thing that JT24 points out that I like is like the Ford Maverick and the Rivian are actually finally reversing this trend. The Rivian is midsize, and the Maverick is like, well, that's the classic size that we used to have for pickup trucks when I was a kid.
Classic full-size pickup. Yeah.
Right.
But it's a small one now.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
unfortunately, the rest of the crowd is buying Peterbilts and Internationals starting next year.
Yes.
Why not, right? That's what we really need is more diesel engines on the road. Well, speaking of Rivian, let's go to Paul for a little bit of news on Rivian.
Yeah, and speaking of trucks, most of us here are aware of Rivian is an e-truck company that I think they've delivered 7 trucks so far.
I think it was like 30, but still, yeah, not a lot.
Teeny amount.
Yeah.
They spent $1 billion last year, and they IPO'd today. And as of today, they are worth more than General Motors and also more than Ford.
They
with them
delivered
around
a
100
classroom
years.
load of cars.
Yes. So, Wall Street's betting on the future, and that's great. And, people who invested in Tesla early on are very happy now. But who knows how much room there is for other contenders. They have a cool product, I must say, but they don't have a dealer network. They don't have service plans. They got a lot of stuff to figure out. Now, with all this money they raised today, hopefully they can. I shared a link if someone can share this chart that
Gotcha. I just need somebody to
so
click
this
the
is
button.
a dynamic Google sheet that some guy put together that we've looked at before, but it shows you the market cap of the 25 largest car companies. And if you scroll down, you'll see a bar chart, which is actually quite impressive. And
Whoa.
that red one at the left, that's our friends Tesla, who are worth more than the next umpteen number of companies after them. Rivian is now the 6th largest company in the world after one day as a public company.
Right there. Wow.
And if you look at, there's companies like Honda, Hyundai, Nissan, they're way down the list now. So I guess this is good that the future is electric. And you look at the little battery symbols on the graphs, those are primarily electric companies. Some of them we're not that familiar with. They're Chinese companies. I was surprised to learn that BYD was number 4 after Volkswagen, Toyota, and Tesla.
They should have the battery symbol after them too. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, and I don't know. What do you guys think about valuations of companies that haven't shipped the product?
It is a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
But I've made the argument on here that I don't think that the legacy automakers have the ability to live through this transition. We argued that Russell and I had a one-on-one discussion about whether or not Volkswagen and Toyota can turn the corner and make it into the future. And I think culture eats strategy, and they have a culture that is not tuned to software, over-the-air updates, battery electric. So they have, I think all of those stranded assets become baggage that weigh them down. And what's the future going to be? It's going to be electric and connected, autonomous, and these upstarts have a better chance of getting there than I think the legacy automakers. So who are the next big 3? It's going to be Chinese car companies. I think they have a really good shot of becoming displacing Japan in a lot of ways, and companies like Rivian and Tesla. So I do think it's a crazy valuation, but I still bought some stock today. It's not stock advice, and I didn't buy that much, but I believe in the mission. I believe they have a great product. I think they are going to grow like crazy. So yeah, there's my 2 cents.
Further to your point, though, look at Norway, where what was it, 5% or less of their cars this last measurement period were fossils. Everything else was EV, and then you've got Herbert Diess trying to rebuild Volkswagen so they can actually survive this transition, and you've got all these managers who just want to ride out to their retirement. They're trying to fight him so they can't make the transition, and he's warning, if we do this now, everybody gets to come along, and if we wait any longer. A lot of you won't make it to 2030 to keep your job. So,
yeah, and I guess again, this is not stock advice, but traditionally, when a tech IPO, and this is more of a tech IPO than a auto company, it jumps up first day or two. There's some profit taking by Wall Street guys. It goes down a bit, and it sits there for a while, and then it starts to go up again. So, if you've got some money to gamble, and it is a gamble. Maybe wait a little while till it dips down a bit, get in, and maybe 5 years from now you'd be like, I only paid $110 a share.
Right. Just get it, chuck it in, and forget about it.
Yeah. But
don't
invest your kids' college fund on it.
No, not your retirement, not your mortgage payment.
Do it. Dump it all, man.
Dogecoin. You would otherwise take to Vegas.
We're going to Mars.
Do not listen
to the moon.
Yeah.
It's
never.
But
don't spend anything. Don't spend anything you can't afford to lose.
Yeah. But this is a fun link. I check it in from time to time just to see where the markets are. And it is updated live during the day when the market's open. And it's pretty neat to see the bar charts moving around and the daily changes as well.
One thing that's interesting to compare them to Tesla, for example. So right now, the one nice thing is that their share price and their market caps are easy translations. If Tesla's about 1,000, that makes them about $1 trillion market cap, and Rivian's about $100 a share, and they're about 100 billion market cap, so 1/10 of Tesla. When Tesla IPO'd, split adjusted, they IPO'd at $3 a share, which if Rivian were doing that right now, that would be a really fair price compared to what they've delivered and what they have. But the world has changed since Tesla's IPO'd. people back then were like, no one's going to buy electric. No, California's the dumbest place to start a car company. This is never going to work. Where now the sentiment is completely different. So
And
so
it's a
yes, this is-
$150,000 two-seater.
right. Yeah. So if anything, this shows that there is an appetite out there for these types of products, and that's the market in general that's forward looking for investments thinks that this is where the right place to put money and investment is. So that's great. And when we talked about companies like Faraday Future and Nikola, I was like, no, I see red flags everywhere. I'm not going to touch this company with a 10-foot pole. And I'm not, Rivian seems to be more legit than those companies to me, in my personal opinion. So it's just why I'm willing to put my money
and Amazon was an early investor in Rivian.
Yes.
So they must be, or Jeff Bezos personally, but they must have made a ton of money today as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and Ford, the most profitable thing Ford has done recently is invest in Rivian.
Yeah.
What I would also
reflect in their share price today.
What I would also say is that the world, as Patrick has said, has changed. And if you look at the small country of Norway that has embraced EV culture and has started to move, a lot of the people in the automobile industry would not have believed before this point that a swing could happen so dramatically in a country's buying ICE vehicles over EVs, and how it has ICE vehicles have dropped off the cliff in sales in such a short period of time. And that has not been known to happen. And of course, Norway is a small country. It's not huge, but the buying change in the country has been dramatic. Even with the subsidies they do offer, it's still a dramatic change.
Well, it's not just the subsidies; it's a disincentive to buy an ICE car.
Right.
And that's great that it can work in Norway. Americans would never allow that to happen. You can't tell me I can't buy my Ram 3500.
Well, it gets worse than that. There's a small section of it's on the tip of my tongue. But there's a municipality that actually has gone so far as to say that after 2030 you can't even buy a used fossil car. They won't license it on their street. Mm-hmm. It's not Norway. It's a little bit south.
Yeah.
Hockey Day brings up a lot of good points in the chat here. That Rivian, there's a ex-employee that's saying that they have problems in management with attitude and how workers are treated and other things. And then the other thing is that was brought up was how much funding they've had, which means they've never had a day of reckoning. Whereas, Tesla was forged in fire. They were on the verge of bankruptcy multiple times. After the Model S came out, they had to show that they could be profitable. So they cut a bunch of employees and ran lean so they could have a profitable quarter to show the market it's possible. Right. And Russell's got some. What?
Well, same for Ford, GM, and what became Stellantis. They also, they either were at the verge of or completely went bankrupt, and they had to prove themselves and come back.
Rivian's been fat.
Let me swim upstream here on Tesla. Number one, profitable is what your accountants tell you is profitable.
Is it me? Lost connectivity.
You're lost?
Okay, so you lost connectivity.
What was that?
Okay, I'm back.
His way to say, I don't want to hear what Russell has to say.
I don't blame you. I don't really want to hear it either. Let me just say this. I've said it before in the show. I'll say it again. Tesla's product is their stock. Their CEO's main obsession, pretty much undeniable, is the stock price. It's what he works at the most. If you believe shit like Elon sleeps on the factory floor, we don't really have much to talk about.
I don't know. I drive their products. I completely disagree with you.
I understand. You're allowed. I get it. I mean, I just, and I've driven all their products except for Plaid. I do acknowledge they actually do make products, but their main product is the stock. The idea that somehow they're better, I don't know. It seems like a stretch, but I get it. I mean, at this point, Patrick, what I wanted to ask you is when do we call Tesla a legacy company?
That's they're certainly not a startup. I mean, they're in the S&P 500. They're big boys now. So yeah, but there's still a difference. They're not a 100-year-old auto company with that legacy baggage.
But when do you make the transition from innovative trendsetter, blazing new trails, to doing what they did 5 years ago?
Well, yeah. So when their pace of innovation slows down, which I have not seen yet. We talked about. Every week we talk about something cool that they're doing and something new and different. And even the carbon wrapped motor, I thought there's no efficiency going to be squeezed out of motors going forward. They're 98% or whatever, and power electronics are 85. So I mean that you get diminishing returns. Good luck getting any improvements. And they've continued to get improvements out of that. In addition to the work they're doing on batteries, which there's a lot of headroom there possible, but even on everything else, they're still innovating, in more than just fart mode.
In what sense?
Indeed.
Yeah. So I mean, every time Sandy Munro gets a new vehicle and tears it down, he's like, "Here's 10 different things that weren't here 6 months ago when I tore down the last one." Whether it's heat pumps or octavalves or whatever. Yeah. So their pace of innovation has continued to run, which is one of the cool things.
Down to the assembly and rivets in a car.
Yeah, the mega castings. Other car companies have had 100 years to come up with stuff like that, and Tesla's doing it. No one else is. Why aren't other companies doing front and rear castings? Because they had a system that worked. It was good enough, and they kept turning that crank.
The latest version of the superchargers, the mega chargers, the mega pack. We just saw a school get basically last version product, and the school has gone net zero in Canada. They have solar panels over all the parking spots, and they've got 8 battery packs and 2 inverters, and they don't need a connection to the grid anymore.
Not to mention the innovation in batteries. Not at all.
Right.
Like the 48s, the 4680s, eliminating a number of different processes to bring down the price of the battery, to bring up the efficiency and bring down the cost.
But
it's
the 4680 isn't a product at this point, right?
It is actually
it is.
Where are they producing it?
They are producing it at Cato factory, and it's being put into cars for testing now.
Okay, so we're talking about
Panasonic and LG have both come out with their version to sell to Tesla as well, because we know Tesla can't make themselves enough batteries.
Okay, I'm going to move on and let
this was about Rivian.
This was about Rivian, and of course it went to the T word because that's what we do.
You started it.
I know. It's my show, damn it.
Well, the T is now the big elephant in the room. So
it is, and legitimately, right? Legitimately, I'm not saying that Tesla doesn't deserve a place at the table. What I'm saying is that we've conflated stock price and valuation with genuine innovation and the ability to manufacture high numbers of things, which Tesla's still
the China factory is at 800,000 units a year now and rising.
Right. They've hit million run rates, so they are at high volume, and it'll be another.
More when those other 2 factories come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if anyone's ever done a chart, Tesla's profit per car versus Toyota's profit per car, and to compare that, because again, a lot of the value in Tesla is just in their future profits, not real.
Oh, well, somebody did the chart in revenue per car, and because their target is 25% per car, it's substantially higher than a lot of the competition.
Right,
most going for 10 or 15%.
Yeah, but revenue and profit
margin
are not the same. Just because you can charge a lot doesn't mean you're making a lot.
Tough to get that, Paul, because of course companies don't like to share exactly what they're making on every car.
Asymmetrical information. Let's go to Georgia, who has a story about a company that is innovating. In fact, they've innovated so successfully, they're empty.
Oh, we're not talking about Tesla anymore.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He says,
Talk
on
about the
YouTube.
other legacy.
It's your story. You can talk about whoever you want, Georgia.
Yeah, you take it wherever you want, Georgia. I would be the last one to tell you can't do. I'm going to cut my throat quietly. So when you guys are done,
I'm just saying.
I'll bring up the pictures of this thing.
Oh, you're gonna put the pictures up?
Sure.
Dun, dun, dun.
Here we go.
So, I did the serious topic last week, but this is something that caught my eye when it first came out, because I was like, hey, look at that. It's one of them cool
1972
old-fashioned,
pickup truck.
it's an old retro style Ford pickup truck, and it's an EV. Super cool. The Ford not Eliminator, Eluminator, excuse you.
Right?
But the minute it got announced and released, hey, it sold out.
Boom.
I mean, what the hell? There I was thinking, oh man, that's pretty cool. We'll get to talk about it and say when it's going to be on the market. And oh, hey, there it was. And goodbye. There's no more. Very successful launch, guys.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It's kind of crazy. It was a kind of a concept car. It's the F100 concept with 480 horsepower based on the Mustang Mach-E's unit, which is cool.
And you can do it yourself if you got in on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were offering a crate motor, correct? An electric crate motor.
Yep, and it's $3,900 a pop, so it went pretty fast.
That was a good price.
But I don't know if I saw it in the article, but it said they sold out, but it didn't say how many they sold. Like, did they have?
What were there, 5?
Or 5,000?
Right? I don't think there were 5 at that price. There had to have been at least 100 or 1,000 to get that price that low.
Yeah, it's
a cool idea for like the tuner crowd that has an old truck or an old Mustang, and you want to make an EV out of it. To be able to buy a real motor from a real company that's properly engineered it, and be able to
warranty and support
tinker in your backyard shop or make a weekend track car or whatever. It is a pretty cool thing, and it's cool that they're taking kind of the guts of the Mach-E and packaging it for do-it-yourselfers. I do think that's really cool.
Yeah, I really loved the look of it. I thought it definitely showed the potential of what you can do. It's going to be interesting to see what other people do with that setup. So, thumbs up to that.
I mean, modifying personal cars is a huge hobby in America.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people do cars from the 30s, 50s, 70s, 80s, and trucks and whatever they're into. There's a group of people that build these things on the weekend and go drive around and show them off. So,
and they already use Ford and Chevy crate motors to
exactly.
do it, so.
And you know what? If X% of those people get rid of their gas burners and put in an EV powertrain, that's awesome to see a 67 Mustang going down the road with an EV powertrain.
Violently and fast as hell.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Trucks are a great thing for conversions. You pull out those gas tanks, and under the bed of the truck, you've got lots of room for your batteries there.
Yeah.
A strong frame to weld it to.
Talked at the beginning of the show, those earlier trucks are like half the size of a modern truck, so they weigh less and they're, easy to push down the road.
It's a pretty cool candidate. I wonder if Ford's going to get some more ideas based on that sellout, but we'll see.
Yeah, and it makes sense for them as economies of scale make your parts cheaper. So, Wright's law, the cost curve declines as you sell more. So if they can, if you said they're using Mach-E parts, if now they can increase their volume of Mach-E parts, that'll improve their costs, and then they can make more profit on their Mach-E's or reduce the price and open it to a bigger market. Pretty cool.
And I'm sure it's only a matter of time before you see a Chevy, V8 crate motor that bolts into a gas car that's an EV powertrain.
Yeah, in fact, when Chevy did the Copa Camaro, they were talking about doing that as well, but instead they made whole gliders with the motor already in there. But That was another.
If you've always wanted
EV
a
motor.
Porsche 911, you can go find a 1985 version with a blown motor and stick one of these in there. They'll be light and fast. And
Yeah, except if you went to a Porsche event with a Ford motor in it, they would
electric or not, but Ford, get the hell out.
What have you done?
And I think about all those 70s and 80s Jags that had horrible motors that got Chevy crate motors,
Hey, look
because
at that. We're recycling.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
yeah. Then it was cool. Like, oh, whatever. I got rid of the crappy Jag power plant and I put this in,
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, let's go to Mr. Mark Coughlin for what will undoubtedly be a stellar roundup this week in Tesla.
I could talk about 100,000 things because we missed last week, but I'm just going to concentrate on one thing, and that is something that is near and dear to Russell's heart based on his previous comment in this show. And that, of course, is that the Tesla stock has made its biggest 12-day gain in the history of capital markets. Not just in Tesla's history. We're talking since the capital market was invented.
Since
Tesla
Standard Oil.
has cleared
Since the Dutch.
completely cleared. Yeah, it's Exxon, it's Royal Dutch, it's all.
Oh, I was talking about tulips.
Rolled into one. Like, this is absolutely insanity. And of course, this all happened starting about a week ago when Tesla announced, actually it wasn't Tesla, it was Hertz. Hertz announced that they had purchased 100,000 Model 3s to add to their new rental fleet. Hertz had come out of bankruptcy and they've decided to go EV in a big way, and they have put in an agreement to purchase 100,000 Model 3s. And that, of course, started this incredible roll that Tesla's been on for 12 days. And of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. What happened is it went up to about a $1,200 level from an $800 level, and then it dropped off about 12%. Then it's bounced back a little bit. So it's up and down, but the evaluation is incredible. And as Paul showed in his chart, how Tesla is worth more than the next 25 or 30 automobile companies. It's not an automobile company based on its evaluation. It's a tech company, and it's selling not just automobiles. It's selling energy, and it's selling batteries, and it's selling storage, and all these things combined into it. And it looks like Wall Street has just decided, based on the Hertz deal, it was all kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back and let it run free. And it ran up an incredible amount in those 12 days. But just shocking. And then Georgia had mentioned at the beginning of our show, or just before the show started, it was announced that Hertz doesn't even have a deal with Tesla for the 100,000 cars. Because, of course, Tesla has said, there is no deal. You're not getting a reduced price because the cars are sold already. And it's true. People that are ordering Model 3s today are having to wait 6 to 8 months to get those cars. They have sold everything out. In fact, you can't buy a Tesla today that you will get in the same year that you bought it in.
Yeah. Anders told me his is going to be in December of 22 if he ordered today.
Yeah.
All these cars are pushed out 6 to 8 months into the future before you can even get it, because there's so much demand for these electric vehicles that they're selling them beyond the point that they can make them. So Hertz had indicated that, or actually Elon came on to Twitter and said there is no deal with Hertz and they are paying full pop. And Hertz just put on a big splash in Times Square just yesterday, where they rented space and displayed a bunch of Model 3s and talked about the wonderful EVs that they have for rent now in the fleet. And I don't know if some of you guys saw the Tom Brady commercials that Hertz put on obviously they have a big
Let's
campaign
go.
around EVs. They're pushing that this is what they're doing, this is what they're moving forward with, and it was just remarkable to see how the market has embraced EVs as a whole, and Tesla, of course, right along with them at the head of the pack. And it's something that is showing how the world is really changing its view on EVs, and the market seems to there's a lot of demand that's bent up for these cars based on the sales and the future sales of these vehicles that are being sold when they're not even available. So it's really shocking.
Although,
is-
on a side note, I don't think it's wise for Hertz to use a football player in their advertising again.
Yeah.
Any of
OJ.
you
Down that
older
road.
folks.
Psh, right? Go, OJ. It is November 10th, and Tesla is telling me on their website right now that if I order a rear-wheel drive Model 3, I can have it in June of next year. Wow.
Ooh.
But if I order a long range or a 3 Performance, I can have it in less than a month.
Yeah, because
that's
you're
common.
near the factory, so what they can do is they roll it out of the factory to you and count it as a
No,
sale
no,
this
because
year.
that's a more profitable car.
And it's more profitable. That part too.
Yeah,
that's
you've always
why.
been able to buy your way into the front of the line.
Exactly.
That's just smart. I mean,
And of course, the vast majority of the medium cars and the lower end cars is what's being sold the most of. That's the biggest amount of the sales are going to those cars. So, of course, there's a longer waiting list for the entry level Tesla.
Especially if you just got in line behind some jerk who ordered 100,000 of them.
And wants them all in yellow.
Wants them all in white. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
there
so
you go.
That would be cool to see you get a custom color.
I don't want to take up the time any further than just that. It's just kind of interesting watching it from the outside as to what has really changed in the market in just the past 2 years. It's been a remarkable change as to what's going on with the sale of EVs, and Tesla, of course, selling the most EV is at the head of this change that's going on. And Hertz, again, looking at what they had available to them, what they could buy, what they felt the public would want to rent, they decided to pick Tesla over anybody else. And of course, what could be made available? Who could supply 100,000 EVs? Is another question that obviously they were pondering as well.
I want to expound on that a little bit. I know it's the Tesla segment, but in Sweden, they chose Polestar 2 as their electric car for Hertz. And in another European country, they went with more Teslas.
And with that, back to Russell.
Thank you very much, Mark. Well, let's do some shout outs and go home because that. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Casey's going to follow up on some news stories that he's presented earlier. Casey, what do you got for us?
So Paul showed us the aircraft in BC that could go from Washington to Canada and back, or just around the waters of Canada. They have gone now into production. They're going to convert their vehicles over by the end of 2022 and press them into service. So that test was obviously successful, and like I always like to say, electrify all the things. So awesome. And then also, Volvo has got a contract for 100 of their FM electric trucks, which are basically the electric semis.
Yeah.
Then they also announced, after they got this sale, they announced the next size down, like the dump trucks and tow trucks sized. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool too.
Very cool.
Their deliveries are going to start in the fourth quarter of 22. So.
I have a little side story that happened this week.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might have heard of the SEMA show in Las Vegas, which is
God.
all the
Oh
after
yeah, Rich.
hot rods. And
Really?
our friend Rich Rebuilds, who used to rebuild Tesla, he decided to put a crate motor in a Tesla. So he put I think it was a Camaro engine
Yep.
into a Model S. and brought it to show it off at SEMA, and the local news was talking about the future of EVs, and the only Tesla they showed was his with an ICE engine in it. Of the local news.
Okay.
Obviously, the
Yeah.
camera people had no idea what they were filming. They were just looking
Not a
at the
clue.
Tesla logo.
It's the rumbling of the batteries.
But check out Rich Rebuild's channel on YouTube for some hilarious.
And that goes back to our discussions on right to repair. Rich pointed out that he didn't have to make this car a fossil car, except that Tesla wouldn't sell him any parts, and so rather than it being a flood car just sitting there rotting away, he made it so that it could get on the track again.
And all the parts he used are pretty much off the shelf to do like a home built hot rod. You know, you can buy a crate motor from Chevy, you can buy the rear end from Chevy or Summit Racing or all these companies. It's a huge industry. That's why 100,000 people went to Vegas, because it employs a lot of people and a lot of businesses around it. So, but yeah, Tesla's got to make it easier for people to do their own tinkering.
Yeah, I agree. They have, that's one thing that they fail in at this point. They're trying to keep a walled garden, and I think that the right to repair is a big thing that has to progress in the world of Tesla.
Yeah, hopefully Rivian goes more that way than the Tesla way. They starting out with the mobile service, which I like the idea of the mobile service, and it's very convenient. But I also want them to say, hey, you can buy the service manual. Hey, here are the parts. We're not going to ask you all these extra
Or
questions.
hey, you can take your car to Paul to fix it. You don't have to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
'Cause if you can get the manual and the parts, I don't want to actually do the work. I want to take the parts and the manual, give them to you, and then you give me back my car.
That's one thing the legacy companies do really well. They work with independent shops. I mean, I worked on a Chevy Bolt today. I needed to do a software update. I log into Chevy's website and I can do it. I don't have to take the car to the dealer. Now they charge me for it, and that's fair. But they don't say, no, we're not going to let you do it. You have to bring the car back to us. Now, of course, Tesla can just do over-the-air updates, but same thing. Toyota gives me repair manuals, wiring diagrams, software, everything the dealer has at a Toyota dealer I have, and I can compete with them on service and price. So the customer can decide who works on their car.
As it should be.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. And
now we're going.
And now we're going home. Bye. No. Obviously, we will keep harping on the right to repair, because we think that customers should be able to do that. Bruce, no, I'm not going to LA Auto Show. I actually was going to, and I backed out. There's an event from one of the companies that next week that I'm going to, and honestly, I don't know that I'm ready to be at the LA Convention Center. You know,
There's this pandemic thing. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, well, there's that, and honestly, like, there's, you know what the biggest attraction here? Let me expose behind the media curtain, right? You know what the biggest attraction is to go into these LA Auto Show, for instance? It's the private parties that all the companies throw. Okay, there's nothing that goes on at the show that you can't get in a press release, that you can't get video from, that you can't get somewhere else.
I like having all the engineers in one place.
Where?
Right there in their booths.
No,
during the press days. During the press
those
days.
are marketing people. Yeah.
Usually
I
it's
don't know
marketing.
about that.
I've been to SEMA a couple times. There are some smart people there, but yeah, the free food and booze is why people go.
It's industry networking. It really is.
Right, exactly, and it's a networking thing. You're seeing friends and all of that. You're making connections, which is great and important. But as far as like news gathering,
it's all
a slog to get news in those things. So you don't have any of your equipment or contacts or anything. You got all these press releases. You got to get them done like that. Ugh.
Yeah. So. I would love to. Now, that said, hopefully next week I'm going to have some interesting news from a certain Japanese company that has been fighting, I use this word intentionally, electrification, having an electric vehicle event. Hmm.
Interesting.
I'm intrigued. I will
Alphabet
be here
soup.
next week.
I think we'll have some alphabet soup.
Next Wednesday, the show may be running a little bit later because the embargo ends at 7 p.m. Pacific. So, or we'll just talk about it the week. No, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out somehow.
We'll do something.
Anyway, let's do some shout outs to go home. I'm going to start with my friend, Casey Green.
Thank you. So over on my channel, youtube.com/Casey Green, I've got a video I'm working on now of the latest update, this one right here, the latest update to the full self-driving beta software that my car is running, as well as I will be doing a, I'll finally finish the clips where the car tried to jump off the bridge, and a couple others, and then on Sundays I do the chats for a couple hours, so if you guys want to chat with me on Sunday about this kind of stuff, green living and such, electric car news, a lot of Tesla stuff, right here, youtube.com/Casey Green. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Casey Green. Mr. Coughlin, what's up in your world, sir?
Well, I would, if you're interested in more Tesla news, please follow us at the Tesla Life, our YouTube channel. You can follow us on our Twitter feed and Facebook feeds. Just look up the Tesla Life. You'll find us with our shiny red logo that Russell helped with. Thanks very much, Russell.
Did I do that?
Well, you helped with it, definitely.
Oh, I was like,
No copyright infringement intended.
oh yeah. Well, hey, how long have you had that name now?
6 years?
Yeah. Good luck, Tesla. Suing him for IP. Okay, you let him have it for 6 years. It's his now.
No, it's about the guy who invented alternating current, not the car company.
That's all.
So you look at the logo.
24/7, Nikola. Yeah.
Ask Nikola, then ask Edison. Yeah.
What, Patrick? What do you?
That's not going to work.
Oh, there's Nikola right there. There we go. Nice. Well, Patrick, why don't you? Do you do some shout outs?
Sure. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I also blog occasionally at carswithcores.net. Right there, Casey's pointing at it for me. And if you're curious, so I've been driving electric for 15 years. And if you want to know why, it's because there was this little person who came into my life, and I was like, ooh, one day I'm going to be held accountable to this person. And so they're going to say, what did you do to not screw up my planet? And I was like, oh, I better change a few things. There you go. You can find out all the details there. carswithcores.net. Thanks.
Definitely check out Patrick's site. And even if he's totally wrong about some things, he's still really smart. Okay. Is that George is laughing at me now?
Yeah, I am laughing at that.
Okay. Paul, how about you?
I'll plug Boulder Hybrids. If you're in the Front Range area of Colorado, check us out. We fix hybrids and EVs, and we sell hybrids and EVs, although we don't have really anything for sale right now because our used car division has no inventory like every used car dealer in the country. But check us out in the future if you need to buy a car, or check us out today if you need to fix your car.
More importantly, if you have a hybrid or an EV that is not doing exactly what it's supposed to, Paul is the man who can make it sit up and beg. Speaking of begging, I'm begging Georgia McKenzie to end this mercifully, please.
What? No more puns? Or whatever those were?
I got nothing. My writers are on strike this week. Can't you tell? Because I got nothing.
Okay. Well, thanks you guys for hanging out with us. You've been here this long. I do hope by now you've hit like on this show. And don't forget to subscribe. Remember, your thumbs up in that like helps what drives us get in front of other people so they can discover our content too. And while you're at it, head on over to the Tesla Life. Hit like and subscribe over there. Talk to Mark. Listen to Mark. He's got lots of information for you. And then you can go over to Casey Green's channel because obviously his car is trying to kill him. And you know you want to keep a track on that. I mean, that's a train wreck heading right for you. So the further adventures of Casey trying to tame his murderous car I'm just saying, Casey. Just watch yourself with that. You might want to sprinkle some holy water over that thing.
She's a reincarnated Chrysler.
It's Christine, but she got an upgrade.
The anti-Chrysler.
Anti-Chrysler would be great. That's a good one. Right?
Connor stole my writers.
It's got the zingers. But once again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. And don't forget to take good care of yourself. All right, Russ, let's wrap this puppy up.
Thank you so much, Georgia, for that. I appreciate it. Again, follow Mark on the Tesla Life. Subscribe to Casey's channel. If you live in the Front Range, use Paul Guzik and visit carswithcords.net. No matter how much wrong information Patrick is spewing there, it is always worth a visit. And that's all I got. My thanks, as always, to Michael Manring for his amazing theme. Visit him at manthing.com. And please, for God's sakes, buy one song. Okay? That's all I ask. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Patrick Connor, Georgia McKenzie, Casey Green, and Mark Coughlin for putting up with my crap one more time as we flog what drives us around the track. Should be an interesting show next week. That's all I got to say. I don't know what kind of crazy reveals I'll have. Maybe it'll have something to do with a glued-on yoke. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe it'll have something to do with something with Z in the name. Maybe it won't. I couldn't say for sure.
All right, Russell, stop teasing us.
Is that
Wrap
teasing?
it up.
Wrap it up. Thank you. Until next week. Tune in and find out what drives us. Thank you, Casey Green. Hydrogen unicorns. Yeah, JT.
Hydrogen unicorns are fine.
That's negative.
Stay positive.